Alright, what's up guys? Today's video is gonna kind of be a fun one. We're gonna be looking at the Dead by Daylight killers. And we're gonna be going over which ones I would be able to take on in a 1v1 scrap. So before we get into it, I first want to talk about my build as an individual. So I'm 22, I'm 6'2", I weigh about 175 pounds. I'll put a picture up of myself so you can see I'm pretty active in the gym, athletic, good endurance and everything. I have a black belt in Taekwondo, and I've been doing Taekwondo since I was little. I've taught others. I ran the kickboxing club at my college, and I also wrestled in high school. So I've done a lot of sparring. I'm pretty comfortable in a fight setting. So whenever we're looking at the killer's builds, we're going to be comparing them to myself. So I might like have a picture of myself that I leave up here as a frame of reference. So the rules for this list, we're going to be viewing this as if both individuals are trying to kill each other. So no one has an intention to flee at any point. So it's basically like whoever goes down first and can't continue first loses. So we're also going to do it where there's no powers or weapons that are not intrinsic to the killer. So like if you know Dead by Daylight, you know Trapper has this machete that he carries to injure survivors. But that's not intrinsic to his lore or his character at all. So we're not going to consider it when we're considering the fight. We're going to consider his human stats and build and training into the equation, because if we consider the weapons of everybody, then I can just bring a gun, you know, and then I beat most of them, you know, even some of the cracked out ones that I would have no chance against normally. A gun is going to make it way easier. So we're going to consider the killers based purely on their build and powers that are intrinsic to their character. Oh, and so like keep in mind, we're also not going to be considering that everyone is just immune to being injured. Like in Dead by Daylight, you can just drop a pallet on the killers, a giant slab of wood, and they just aren't injured at all. That's just not how the world works. In the same way, survivors are like, you know, put on rusty hooks and they are able to get off and be okay. The same way Trapper's able to step on a bear trap and then just shrug it off and not have any injury to his foot. Like, that's just not how that works. So we're going to consider the characters to be who they are based on their lore. So with that being said, let's jump right into it. Trapper first. So looking at his build, he's 6'4". Looking at him, he's probably around 220 pounds. Good overall muscles and strength. Based on his lore, he doesn't have any formal training. All we get from his lore is that he used to murder people for his father, and that they tell us in his lore that he did this in like a mining incident, that he led a bunch of people into a mine and then blew them up. So obviously a pretty big dude. Would I want to fight him? Probably not, but he's got 2 inches of height on me and probably a little bit of weight on me, but he doesn't have any formal fighting training. So I feel like it'd actually be a pretty even scrap. All the freaking metal coming out of him, that's just not how that works. Like, that, he's not built like that. Ain't no way. So we're just going to consider him to be a pretty big dude all around. And so with that being said, Trapper is going to fall under the scrap tier. Probably 60-40 in his favor, right? He's a little bigger, but I have formal training in fighting, and based on his lore, he doesn't know how to fight or anything like that. So I feel pretty confident that I'd just be able to box him out. But based purely on his size, you know, I don't want to be too arrogant and say that I would be able to just clap him up based purely on his lack of fighting experience. Because he's a big dude, right? So Trapper's going under scrap. Next up, we have Wraith. So Wraith, he's 6'4". He's got a pretty solid build. You know, he's pretty lanky, right? Broad forearms, pretty good arms, broad shoulders. Based on his lore, once again, he doesn't have any fighting experience. He basically works for this like car compaction facility, but he doesn't know that it's actually a ruse and they're killing people. So they like tie people up and put them in the trunk, and then they compress them in a car compactor. So Wraith finds this out, tries to save a person, and then his boss like kills the dude who was in the trunk. And then Wraith gets all pissed and puts the boss into the trash compactor. And then when he dies, he like removes his head and spine, and like that's what makes up his sword, his blade, really. But honestly, he's just a 6'4" dude, and honestly, he doesn't look as bulky as Trapper. I'm not too concerned about him. The way he walks in game, he kind of looks like a Fruit Loop when he moves around. There's no indications that he has any fighting experience. I'm really not that concerned about Wraith all around. He does have his Wailing Bell, supposedly, that like makes him go cloak, but that's not based on his lore or anything. And I don't think that really applies in a fighting context. Like, we're pretty much scrapping it out in an open field. So I don't really know what his like cloaking is gonna do. So with that being said, I think this is also gonna be a scrap. Just based on the fact, you know, he's 6'4", he's a little taller than me, but I feel like I've got him in the strength compartment. He's definitely going to be easier than Trapper, probably 60-40 my favor, I would say, but still going to go in the scrap category because I don't think it would be, I don't think I'd be down, I don't think I would like know for certainty that I would win the engagement. Like there's a chance that Wraith would be able to win. All right, Hillbilly. So based on Hillbilly, we know he's kept hidden in his house. He's like born to a really wealthy farming house, but he's all disfigured. So they keep him in a wall and they feed him through a hole in the wall, right? So he's definitely malnourished. But based on his lore, when he breaks out, he like kills both his parents and goes around slaughtering livestock and stuff with the chainsaw. Clearly malicious, right? He's 6 foot tall. Probably around 140 if I had to guess, because he's underfed. And I just want to point out, like, look at the scoliosis going on. He's got a broad shoulder here, but it's really like my shoulder is pretty much just as big as this. He's just not got even proportions. I really think I would be able to clap Billy up. I'm not gonna lie. Like, he's a 6 foot tall dude. No weapons in hand. He hobbles everywhere. I feel like I'd be able to just kick his legs to oblivion. I don't think he's breaking my guard at all. He's probably pretty aggressive, but still, like, I'm pretty confident that I'd be able to take Billy based purely on his like anatomy and his disfigurement and just the fact that he's malnourished too. And I don't think he's ever been in a formal combat engagement. So with that being said, Billy's going to go into run them hands. I'm kind of comfortable running hands with Billy, not going to lie. All right, next up, we've got Nurse. Now, originally looking at Nurse, I thought she was going to go in the run them hands tier based on the fact that she's 5'5". You know, she's able to teleport, but I thought, you know, in reality, she's just a nurse and probably pretty light, no combat experience based on her lore. But then, if we look at her Mori, just observe this, right? So she's got telekinetic powers. You see all the way she like flipped Renato over. And so then she actually has to like manually strangle, right, to kill. But just the simple fact that she has telekinetic powers, she can hover, makes me think that it's not actually going to be as easy or free as I would originally think. It's probably leaning more towards like me losing, honestly, but I still think I'd have a chance merely based on the fact that she wouldn't have a weapon and she would have to kill me presumably with her hands. And being much larger and stronger than her, once again assuming her telekinetic powers don't like give her extra strength, then this one was kind of hard, right? Because her lore doesn't tell you exactly how strong she is. So she can teleport, she can hover in the air, and she has some telekinetic powers, right? But I still think that even on a ground engagement, I would still be able to potentially fight back. And so there's no indication that she's like immortal either. So it would be rough, right? So it's like I'm kind of like bent here whether or not to go scrap or probably cooked, but merely because she has telekinetic powers, like we're probably cooked if we're being honest. Like she can lift, she flipped Renato over like it was nothing. She also does get fatigued when she blinks, right? So, but based purely on the fact that she's like hovering in midair and is teleporting and has telekinetic powers, we're gonna go probably cooked, you know, because even though she's 5'5", small, I don't think I'm gonna be able to handle it, to be honest. Now, next up, we've got Myers. I don't think I need to talk much about this. Myers is literally the embodiment of the devil and evil itself. He's 6'4", immortal, can't die. That's what immortal means. I'm just repeating myself. But there's nothing we're doing to Myers. Just for the frame of reference, this is Myers, if you haven't seen the movies. He's basically just like X-Men Juggernaut, can't die. He walks slowly. I could loop Michael Myers for eternity because he's never gonna catch me. But in a 1v1 engagement, bro, he's cooking me up. There's nothing I can do to Myers. All right, next up, Hag. So Hag is pretty interesting. So Hag, Lisa Sherwood, her story, so she's 5 feet tall. She was captured and tortured by cannibals. She escaped, and then she mass killed the cannibals after, like, she had bones exposed. She's like dismembered, kind of grotesque like she is here, right? But she escapes and then murders the entire, basically, guild of cannibals that had trapped her and everything. Based on her stature, right, I would feel pretty confident, right? She's 5 feet tall, pretty small. I feel like I could just kick the crap out of her legs and she would just crumble. Like, she really looks like she would just crumble to dust. Like, I just hold my guard tight, and if she comes in, I could hold her wrists, potentially. Like, if we go to the ground, I can hold her wrists. But if we watch her Mori, you see her burst pretty quickly. She's got, her claws are really sharp. Her mouth is a big issue. So the concern would be, like, if we're on the ground, like, she's just going to be ferocious. Like think almost like a Tasmanian devil. And the fact that she was able to survive after getting basically mangled and having her bones exposed and everything, and she was able to live, like, we don't know what's keeping her alive. So on stature, right, I wanna think that I can handle her. She's kind of slow in game. Her movement speed isn't very fast. But her Mori indicates that she's just got that, like, burst ability and that she's very, very lethal. So it's kind of tough, right? Because I feel like if I could keep her boxed out, I would body her in neutral. But if she's able to get in and I'm not, and I don't adequately subdue her, then it's pretty rough. Once again, she's 5 feet tall. She probably weighs like 70 pounds, maybe. But that's nothing to scoff at, right? So yeah, I think Hag and I think we're scrapping. I think Hag and I are definitely scrapping. I want to put Hag between Trapper and Wraith. I think I'd rather take on Wraith over Hag. Honestly, I'd rather take on Trapper over Hag too. Just something about Hag being like you know, not normal makes me think that it would be pretty rough. Like, I think it's probably a little Hag favored, but I also think I have a pretty decent chance against Hag. Okay, next up, Doctor. So Doctor is 6'3", good old Herman, basically tortures people with electroshock therapy. And so let's just observe his moray really quickly to get an idea here. So you can see he's got electricity like coming out of his hands, all around his head. He freaking just fries Renato like it's nothing. And I'd be concerned that even without his like spike, right, that his ability to like protrude and hit me with electric bursts would just completely disorient me and cook me. And then he would be able to get me, like say we're on the ground, like I don't know how much he's able to just shock me and paralyze me and stuff like that. So, you know, I think based on like fighting ability, based on his lore, he doesn't have any fighting ability. He just tortures people, you know. He's got arms, you know, but they're not bigger than mine. There's no indications that he's particularly skilled in combat in any way. But based purely on the electricity, we're probably cooked, to be honest. I don't think I'm beating Doctor with his shock powers, but I think I'd have a better chance than against like some of these top killers that we'll get to later. Okay, Bubba. So Bubba seems really scary on the surface, right? He's 6'4", same as Trapper, pretty thick kind of build, probably around 240 pounds if you had to guess, a little heavier than Trapper, I guess. A little more paunch to him, but he's just an unhealthy, tall cannibal. If you like look up Cannibal Texas Chainsaw, like he's just a big kind of like bulkier dude, and without the chainsaw and the mallet, like I really just think he's a dude that's not trained in combat, to be honest. And real talk, I'm not too worried about it. Like I really think I would be able to piece up the cannibal, genuinely, based on his lore. Like without his mallet or his chainsaw or like some sort of weapon to deal with, he's not really trained in fighting. He just overpowers people with his size. He like kills little kids and traps little kids, and then will, you know, help serve them to food for his family, who's cannibals. But in reality, his lore even says that he's like a scared individual, and he's pretty much just like terrified, and he just like really wants to help his family pretty much. And I'm really not too concerned. Call me crazy, but I think cannibal, I think I'm kind of in that like run them hands. Like I'd rather run it up against Bubba than Billy, to be honest. But I think I could kind of piece up Bubba. I'm not really like, I feel like this is maybe not equal, right? But there's something about Bubba, just like he just gives off like I could bully him. Like I really just think I could piece Bubba up. Like I don't think he knows what he's doing in a hand-to-hand engagement. You know? I genuinely think I would piece him up. Next up, Huntress. So Huntress is pretty interesting because she's 6'4", good old Anna. Her mother dies in the forest when she's young, and then she like fends for herself in the forest and hunts and grows, and then she gets to the point where she's hunting and killing bears and wolves, and then it says in her lore that she starts hunting humans because they're more fun to hunt. So she basically has killed lots of humans, and it's clear that she's killed lots of people, but it's not clear if she's doing that. Well, it's clear that she's doing it with the help of hatchets and her axe, right? Clearly able-bodied arms, you know, kind of definitely weaker than me for sure, but just the fact that she's killed so many people and she's like hunted and lived in the wild on her own for so long, she's got me with height a little bit. We're probably similar in weight. I'd imagine she's around probably 170, I want to say like 175, 180. But I think in a mere hand-to-hand engagement, I think we would be scrapping. I'm not going to lie. I think Huntress and I would be scrapping for sure. I don't think it would be easy in my favor based purely on her upbringing, but I also don't think that she would like decidedly beat me. I think I would put Huntress probably right above Trapper. I think Huntress would probably be a little tougher than Trapper, to be honest. But yeah, I think Huntress is good there. Okay. Next up, Freddy. Freddy's gonna be our first, or not first, our second, like, nothing I can do tier, pretty much. He's an immortal dream demon. He can't be killed. He's only 5'2", right? So I'm not too concerned about, like, why? I'm not too concerned about, like, any one interaction, right? Even with his claws, like, yeah, he probably kill me, right? But without the claws, I'm not too worried, right? He's 5'2", you know, and yeah, he'll be in my dreams and he'll exhaust me. But without the claws, buddy, you ain't doing nothing to me. You're not getting in my box at all. You don't weigh anything. You don't have any formal training based on his character before he becomes the Nightmare. So I would absolutely body Freddy without the claws. But the fact that he's immortal and he like fatigues you in your dreams and stuff, it's just like eventually I'm gonna lose, you know, because we're both trying to kill each other, right? So I'm engaging and I would be boxing him up and piecing him up, but he can't die. So there's nothing I can do. Like, this is almost like immortal just cheating. You know, there's nothing I can do. Maybe I could survive long term. Like, I feel like Freddy's gonna be on the bottom of this tier, but I can't not put him there, you know, based purely on the fact that he's immortal. So let's see. Next up we have Pig. Okay, so Pig is our first actually free. Pig is literally just a 5 tall girl. So this is Pig, 5 tall. She doesn't get the knife in this context, right? So it's just a woman with bad vision because they have a mask on. And for context, saw Amanda. This is her. This is the Pig. 5 feet tall, right? She ain't doing nothing to me, bro. Respectfully, I don't even have to try. Like, this, Pig is freer than free. Actually squashed like a bug. And her little piggy mask, like, bruh. Yeah, so she ain't doing nothing. Clown. Okay, so Clown. Clown's pretty interesting. So when you look at Clown, you think to yourself, dang, bruh. He's got the fingers on his keychain. Pretty paunched belly here. Big dude. He's 6'3", Kenneth Chase. Growing up in his lore, they say he was really good at track and field. He was hired, originally known for his strength, to be like a rope man in the circus, right? But then in his lore, he gets like big into drugs and alcohol and junk food, and he lets himself go. If you play the game, you know that he has like expiratory wheezing. It sounds like he's asthmatic. No endurance whatsoever fighting. And the way he normally kills people is by drugging them and then like tying them up, and then he basically just knows how to sedate people with drugs. But in a one-on-one interaction, bro, he's getting pieced up. He has an inch of height on me, but he's just an out-of-shape fat dude. There's nothing he's doing to me. I'm literally just gonna box circles around him. There's really nothing else to it. I feel pretty comfortable putting Clown in Run Them Hands. I don't think I'd be scared of fighting Clown at all, to be honest. I obviously I wouldn't want to lose, because if I lose, then I'm gonna get my finger freaking cut off and then I'm gonna get killed. But like, straight up boxing ring against Clown, dude, I'm not concerned whatsoever. He doesn't have any formal fighting training. He just overpowers people, or he just drugs people, and then he doesn't have to do anything like overpowering them. So no concern about Clown. Next up, Spirit. So Spirit or Rin, she basically gets diced up by her father. Like the father, the business gets cooked, someone has to pay for it, he freaks out, and then he ends up cutting up. She basically comes home and the father like starts swinging at her with his katana. And so she's like dying, whatever, her arm's sliced up, she's like falling into glass and windows and stuff, so all this her. And then she basically becomes a vengeful spirit. So she's got like the glass from when she was fought, her arms are untied, she can like phase in and out. The sword is a part of her hand. Let's just watch her Mori real quick so you can get an idea. The sword is basically a part of her, dude. And she can just phase, teleport in and out. You're not going to be able to kill her, right? She's undead. She already has freaking detached limbs. Spirit is just absolutely, like, there's nothing to do. There's absolutely nothing to do. Spirit is like borderline worse than Myers. Like, there's nothing we're doing against Spirit. Next up, Legion. So Legion, there's 4 of them. Frank, I only have Frank and Julie, but like they're just 5'4" teenagers, so they're all canonically 5'4", and sorry, once again, there's really, it's because they're freaking disabled at this time. There's really nothing they're doing to me. They don't have any formal fighting training. They're just group bullies. They just bully people in a group of 4. They don't know how to fight. They're literally just teenagers. I could easily take any of them, and probably more than one of them at a time. I could probably take 2 of them at a time in an actual engagement. We're not concerned about Legion at all. Legion's actually free. Right above Amanda. Alright, next up, Plague. So Plague, when you think about Plague, you're like, oh my gosh, she freaking like vomits, she pukes at you in game, and that's freaking nasty, to be honest. But based on her lore, Adiris is literally, she's literally on death's door, dying of a significant illness in like a cave somewhere, surrounded by a puddle of her own vomit. And she prays to her gods, and then it's implied that she just ends up in the entity's realm. And so she's just a woman, canonically, a 6'3" woman, and but no formal fighting training, right? And look, she's bare bones, falling apart at the seams. She's sick on death's bed, right? But say that she's no longer on death's bed, right? She's been revived by the entity, and this is her now, 6'3", without the little thing to swing at me, right? Even though I think it would be nasty to go against her, I think I could get her grounded and position her face so that she wasn't looking at me. I think I could handle Plague in a fight. I'm not gonna lie. She has an inch of height on me. I don't think that's an issue. I'm much stronger, much bigger than her in general. No fighting experience. She wouldn't have any clue what she's doing. I guess she could maybe try and puke on me, but if I just run up and like basically run her down and tackle her and get her on the ground, like I feel like I could easily take Plague down. So we're running them hands. Relative to Clown, I would rather fight Clown than Plague. I would rather fight... Yeah, this is kind of the order I'm looking at, because I think I would rather... Yeah, I like that. Okay, Ghostface. Ghostface is pretty simple. Per the lore in game, Ghostface is 5'5", but the whole point of Ghostface is that anyone can be the killer. You know, that's the whole thing. And that's why I really love Scream and Ghostface in general. It's just like, oh, anyone can be the killer. You never know. But regardless, but even if they're 5'5", like 5'5", no formal fighting training, generally their vision's obscured in like a mask, assuming they don't have the knife, they're getting cooked. But even if it's just a general civilian, like the average civilian is not taking me in a fight. based on my stature, my training, and my build in general. So Ghostface, we'll say actually free, based on the fact that Legion is literally a teenager and Amanda's a 5 foot tall girl with no fighting training. Ghostface can at least be a normal civilian sometimes, so we'll put Ghostface above those. Demogorgon, I literally think it's sufficient to show you the Mori. And I think that should speak volumes about where Demo's gonna go. Yeah. Yeah. Moving on, Oni. So Oni, let's just look at his build real quick in game. So originally, Oni was this samurai that went around trying to basically kill all the false samurai, like farmers posing as samurai, people that weren't true samurai, and he would basically go and fight them and kill them. But then he ends up becoming like a disgrace against samurai, and he doesn't realize till the end until he like accidentally kills his father. And he's talked about for having like unmatched speed and strength. It takes a whole village to finally bring him down in a fight. And then at the end of his lore, he basically disappears and becomes the Oni to the entity. And if you see here, like, he's blue, he's freaking got massive quads. He's not human anymore. He's got freaking blood enraged powers. I mean, look at the man's hair. Like, there's no chance. He's also 6'2", same height as me, but just pure size. Like, there's nothing I'm gonna do. He's probably 240 pounds of just raw power. There's nothing we're doing to Oni. So Oni, yeah, and Oni's like already dead in the lore, coming back to life. We're cooked. All right, Deathslinger. So Deathslinger, good old Caleb Quinn. He's just an engineer kid, pretty much, that is really good at making things. He's 6'4". He ends up making like this harpoon gun, and then goes off with his band of outlaws and basically kills people and brings them to jail for this warden. Based on his lore, it seems like he can maybe fight a little, but it seems like he's pretty much entirely dependent on his weapon. So I'm honestly not too concerned, to be honest, in a hand-to-hand interaction. It's just a dude who's got maybe 2 inches on me. He doesn't give off the vibe like he's particularly strong, pretty flat-chested. Doesn't really seem... I'm not really concerned too much. I think Deathslinger, based on his lore, like, he fights and kills people a little bit, but it doesn't seem like it's really that much into hand-to-hand combat. I think Deathslinger and I would probably scrap, to be honest. I think Deathslinger falls here on the tier list. I think Wraith would be a little easier to fight than Deathslinger, and then we go Trapper, Hunter's Hag. I think that looks good. So Pyramid Head, from Silent Hill. It's a monster, not even a human. 7'2". Freaking, what does the lore say? Sadistic and merciless executioner, not a manifestation of the protagonist's guilt and desire for punishment. Yeah, dude. GG's. I think Pyramid Head. Well, the thing is, I might be able to loop Pyramid Head. You know, like when I look at this, like I could loop, Freddy, I could loop Myers. Spirit, probably not. Oni, probably not. To be honest, the man's so massive, he'd probably run me down. Demo, I'm not looping. Pyramid Head, I might be able to loop, but based on this, the rules we're providing for this tier list, where I have to fight them, I think I'm probably putting Pyramid Head all the way up here. All right, next up is Blight. or Talbot Grimes. He is 5'5". He is a chemist that he started making drugs in a lab. He ended up, the drugs he was making basically made people immune to having pain and highly productive, but then the side effects is like it ended up killing people. So someone got mad at him and kidnapped him and then left him for dead after torturing him. He ended up getting saved by this like group, and he started helping them with their medicines and making drugs for them. Then eventually he took it too far. Then they started torturing him again with these medications that he had made. And then the end of his lore is he's basically using a rock to like inscribe things on the wall while he's tweaking out, and then he ends up killing himself by like digging the stone into himself, trying to continue writing stuff. And so based on the lore, like Blight is already dead. He's undead, and he's juiced up with this serum that makes him energized, makes it so he can't feel pain. Like, look at him, bro. He's literally tweaking. And like in his Mori, he uses his cane, but like he's just tweaking. Like Blight is just tweaking, and although he's 5'5", and I think I have stature, I think I have muscle on him, I think the fact that he's drugged up, his serum making him immune to pain, he just looks cracked out of his mind. Like, I don't know, based on stature maybe, but like I think we're probably cooked. I think Blight is probably worse than Doctor, to be honest. Like I think with Blight, assuming he's undead, like I could maybe fend him off. I could try, but to be honest, we're probably cooked. Like, we're not lasting very long, admittedly. But I think I'd have a better chance against Blight than all of these up here. So I think Blight stays in, probably cooked. Alright, next up, twins. So, twins, Charlotte's 6'2", Victor's 2'2". They're conjoined twins with no fighting experience. In the lore, basically they're just getting bullied, like, by the system, and then they end up dying. But then, like, the entity claims them. This is looking like adipose tissue, not actual muscle to me. I'm not really concerned about Charlotte, to be honest. I think Charlotte would go in the bottom. Like, she's got a freaking hole in her chest. Charlotte would go in the bottom tier on her own, but just merely the presence of Victor. If we take a glance at their Mori, you can see that Victor kind of has a little bit of viciousness to him, but he only is able to capitalize on it when Renato's already on the ground here. And I really think I'd be able to, like, just collapse Victor's trachea in half a second, like if Victor got close to me, or just like snap his arms off. Like, I'm not too concerned about Victor, to be honest, but the mere fact that there's Charlotte and Victor, there's always a small chance that Victor does some BS. Like, maybe he has some crazy pounce or something and he disorients me or something. But in reality, I think I just kill Victor within 2 seconds and then Charlotte's free. So we're gonna put them in Run Them Hands. And we're gonna put twins right above Clown. Trickster, I really don't really have much to say about Trickster. He is a performer, he has throwing knives and a bat with a blade on it. Without it, he's just a 5'5" dude 5'4" dude with no formal training, not really muscular. He's got what the Dead by Daylight community calls a twink build. I would just stomp him, to be honest. I would have my way with Trickster, absolutely. There's nothing he's doing. He's like right here. Like, Trickster would be pretty free, not gonna lie. Next up, Nemesis. Nemesis is chopped, bro. There's nothing we're doing here. We'll just watch the Mori. Just for those of you who don't know, Resident Evil, 7'2". The Mori speaks for itself. There's nothing we're doing against Nemesis. I think Nemesis goes right in Pyramid Head, but I think we'll put Nemesis right here. I don't even know. I know more about Nemesis. I think Nemesis goes here. Next up, bro, this is just another one. Like, we're getting to the gauntlet of ones that I just don't want to deal with. So, Pinhead from the Hellraiser series, he's literally just like a torture demon that is designed to torture people. Like, nah, bruh. I'm cooked. There's nothing I can do here. What, even the stature. Let's see. How tall's Pinhead? 6'3". Yeah, ain't no way, bro. Pinhead might be the worst. Not gonna lie. Yeah. Probably just nothing. Yeah. Next up, Artist. Okay, so Artist is interesting because based on her lore, Carmina Mora, she's 6'3", no combat training. I would piece her up, no questions. But based on the lore, she gets like kidnapped, taken to a desert, and they cut her arms off because she's like making art as protest, whatever. So like now you can't make art anymore. Then they cut her tongue out and they're like, oh, now you can't read poems anymore. And then out of nowhere, all these crows like pull up, just what they say, murders of crows, but just tons and tons and tons of crows. They like provide her with new arms, they provide her with a new tongue, and it's almost like she's immortal. Like her life is like tied to the crows. And in the lore, the dude who's like cutting her arms off, cuts her tongue off, the crows like just start assaulting him in troves. And so even though I think if I'm in a ring with the Artist, even though she's 6'3", right, she's no training, I would piece her up, no questions. But the fact that she's just like freaking immortal, it seems like, I don't even know if she's immortal, but like her arms cut off, her tongue gets cut out, the crows replace it for the most part. She seems pretty cracked out. She's not in the same tier as these dudes up top, but I would put her above Doctor, and I might even put her above Blight. No, she can go below Blight. But like, we're probably cooked, you know? Sadako, once again, like we're getting to the baddies, you know, to the ones that are just freaking just nightmare fuel. Like, let's just peep the Mori really quickly. She's freaking got, like, I don't even know, bro. It's just nah. Like, just nah. You just watch the Mori. There's nothing else to say. Telekinetic, magic, juicer, nightmare fuel. Nah, bro. It's bad. I don't even know. Like, it's bad. It's bad. Then Dredge, man, Dredge is bad too. Yeah, we're getting to the point where we're getting to the killers that are just like cooked. Like there's nothing to do. The Dredge is 7'1". He comes from a town that it's called the Fold. It's this private island where no one is allowed to have dark thoughts, and basically anyone that has any negative thoughts to say is basically excommunicated or removed from the community. And then there's like one day where it just like the city erupts in darkness and it goes into mayhem, and then the Dredge emerges. It's like an embodiment of all the darkness in the community, and we'll just play the Mori for you to get an understanding, you know? Like it's it's just cooked. It's just cooked. Ain't nothing we're doing. I don't even know. Like, yeah, Dredge is bad. Wesker, so another Resident Evil killer in Wesker. Wesker, he's 5'8", so he was like this researcher. He got exposed to this prototype virus, and this prototype virus turned him into this biological weapon with superhuman strength and powers. You can see here, like he's got, you know, he's got this unique power with the tentacles and stuff. There's nothing we're doing to Wesker. I think he's even got some telekinetic powers, and I remember Marvel vs. Capcom 3, he could like teleport. There's nothing we're doing against Wesker. Wesker might be, oof. It's just all cooked here, to be honest. We'll put Wesker here. Alrighty. Hold on, who's next? Knight. Okay, so the Knight. The Knight is 6'4", Tarhos Kavax, a trained killer. He's killed hundreds in his time. It's not clearly stated, but he's probably very comfortable in hand-to-hand combat. It says he's mostly using weapons, obviously, in his conflict. And he has a cohort of close allies, which are like how he summons the ghouls in game. We're gonna argue that he doesn't get to summon his undead friends in this case. We're just gonna say he's the 6'4" tank that he is, and I'm probably getting cooked, you know. Without the armor, there's the smallest chance that I could do something, but in reality, he's bigger than me. He has been fighting for his whole life. You know, it's pretty much just GG's. There's not a whole lot, but at least he's a human. He's within reason in size and strength. I have a chance against Knight, I would say. Skull Merchant. I think Skull Merchant, it's a nice let up from the recent ones we've been looking at here. Adriana Imai, she's pretty much just a smart woman, and she ends up like making a bunch of technology and stuff. Her freaking hat thing that she has on ain't doing anything. She doesn't have her claw. She wouldn't have her sharp nails. She's just a 5'7" woman without any combat training. So with that being said, she's probably going here. I still think I'd stomp Trickster easier. Like, she at least has like a tint in her eye, like she might be malicious. But Trickster, but yeah, no. Singularity. Singularity is just a freaking human-designed AI that decided to turn on the humans, and it's designed to survive in space with no food, no water, no life support system, and it's got a freaking saw as a hand. You can just watch the Mori here. How tall is it? It's 6'4". There's just nothing I'm doing against Singularity, so Singularity is, yeah, look at Renato's face, yeah. Singularity is handedly going, honestly, above demo. I would say Singularity is above demo. Xenomorph. This is just without question. Well, we'll wait for it to show up. But let's see. Xenomorph. What's the height numbers they give on Xenomorph? 7'1". And just like, come on, man. Like, what are we talking about here? We even just give it the Mori just for the fun of it. Like, look at him just having his way, bro. Taking his time with Renato. Like, bruh. Ain't nothing I'm doing. Ain't nothing I'm doing. Xenomorph. Probably top. Yeah. Next up, Chucky. This might be a hot take, but I honestly think Chucky is not really that tough. Let's see. Yeah, so my height numbers say it's 2 foot tall, which is like, that's pretty tall, right? But it's just a possessed doll from like a murderer. So like a past murderer ends up possessing this doll. Chucky without the knife, bro? Pretty free. I'm not gonna lie. I really just think I would pick it up and swing it around in my hand and laugh with it, you know? I don't think Chucky's doing squat to me. You know, just because you're possessed by somebody, I'm gonna put you in a freaking box, you know? I just put you in a safe, in a wall. Like, even if you're immortal, just put you in a safe. There's nothing you're doing to me, bro. I'm gonna braid your hair. Like, you're cooked. So, next up, Unknown. Unknown, based on the lore, like, it's not even clear what Unknown is, just that it's unknown and, like, folklore kills things. But if you look at the way it's, like, configuring its body, and then we're really quickly going to glance at the Mori, just to get an idea of what we're dealing with. You know? There's not a whole lot we're doing, you know? Unknown is pretty much just like a demon from a folklore tale. It's pretty cooked. It's pretty cooked. I would put Unknown probably here. Yeah, so next up is the Lich, Vecna from Dungeons and Dragons. He is 6'7", a magic wizard. There's nothing I'm doing. Really quickly, you can just watch the Mori for if you don't know. Genuinely nothing I'm doing. Easy up top. Dracula, similar. 6'7", can transform into a wolf, transform into bats, immortal. You know, there's just nothing. So Dracula's another just clear one. Top. Houndmaster. Houndmaster's kind of interesting. So Portia May, 6'4". She's a pirate, and she basically directs dogs. And her main dog here, just because it is her character, we're gonna consider her character to have the dog with her, the same way Victor and Charlotte go together. So I think I would be able to handle her independently. It seems as a pirate she would be in like fighting interactions maybe every once in a while, but hand to hand, I think I'm still easily taking her on even though she's slightly taller than me. I think my concentration of muscle would be much greater than hers. But with her freaking giant demon dog, it's cooked. It's pretty cooked. There ain't much I'm doing, to be honest. I just think the dog would probably cook me. Like, we can look, like, just the dog alone without her. You know, I really don't think she's going to be an issue. I feel like I would put her in the bottom tier if she didn't have the dog with her. But just the presence of the dog alone is going to put her handedly in the probably cooked tier. Okay, next up is Tokyo Ghoul, Ken Kaneki, as my brother calls him, Tentakusi. You can just watch his Mori real quick. Basically, think of him kind of like a vampire, but he like has to eat humans. And there's just really nothing I'm doing. You know, it's just wrapped. He's another one of those mythical characters where I'm just kind of piped, you know. There's just not much to do. Animatronic, Springtrap. So Springtrap, once again, another one that's just not fair. I think they said his height is 6'7". He basically is a metal container for someone else who got trapped inside of it, and so there's the husk of the body, and so he's just an undead animatronic, pretty much. Full metal. There's nothing I'm doing. I can't kill a metal robot, really. I think I'd have a better chance than a lot of the higher ones. Like, maybe I could try and make something short circuit, potentially. I think there's the smallest chance I make something short circuit. So we'll put animatronic at the very top of probably cooked borderline here, but just because I think there's a slight chance I could get lucky and dislodge a wire or something, maybe. Home stretch, Crossu. So Crossu, her story's weird. She basically is trying to become famous, and she gets fed. She doesn't get fed, but like she starts drinking this serum overnight, and it slowly starts to dissociate her body and her internal organs, so that her organs like start to dissociate, and when they dissociate, they will attack people and start to like dismember them, basically. So you kind of see here, like it starts to attack Renato, dig into his body, and then come out of his head, right? So it's pretty gross, right? She's 5'4". I think compared to some of the other killers, I think I have a better chance against Crossu, to be honest. There's a chance that I could maybe like pop her heart or something if I'm lucky. Maybe that will kill her. I'm not really certain, but at least I think I have a chance against Crossu, given that it is just floating organs, you know, and I know my anatomy pretty well. So maybe I would be able to kill her at the same time she's killing me. There's a chance, you know. And then lastly, rounding us out, Stranger Things, Vecna, telekinetic powers. If you've seen the season, if you haven't, there's just nothing. There's just nothing I'm doing. You know, it's just Raps. Another one of those broken killers that would be instant GG tier. So that rounds out the tier list. Yeah, so this is what we're looking at. So in summary, bottom tier here, Chucky, Pig, Legion, Trickster, Skull Merchant, and Ghostface. No stress at all. We're easily taking them on in a one-on-one. Run them hands. Confident I could beat these people in a fight. Clown, Twins, Bubba, Plague, Billy. Scrap tier. Killers that I think it could go either way. Wraith, Deathslinger, Trapper, Huntress, and Hag. And then probably cooked. We're looking at Nurse, Doctor, Houndmaster, Knight, Crossu, Artist, Blight, Springtrap. And then our top tier, the most abundant, not surprising. I'm not going to read them all. You can see them. I don't know if I would really reorder them so much. You could argue that you might change. If you made it this far into the video, feel free to argue that, you know, certain ones should be changed a little bit. I didn't really scrutinize too much. This is just kind of where I would place them in terms of how quickly I would get cooked. So yeah, with that being said, this is just kind of a fun video. Feel free to comment and argue that I'm completely wrong or something, but anyways, hope you enjoyed.